President Trump has nearly $20 million on hand to fund his re-election campaign. That's according to his latest filing with the Federal Election Commission. That's far ahead of the war chest built up by the last three incumbents at the same point in time. Jack Oliver is with us from St. Louis. He helped George W. Bush raise money for his successful re-election campaign and has a long history of fundraising for Republicans. Jack, thanks so much for joining us. If you were on the president's campaign staff, how pleased would you be with these fundraising numbers?
Elaine, I got to tell you, for an incumbent president who has started early, he's well ahead of anybody who's ever run for re-election for president of the United States. He's got a wider base than anybody on the Republican side that's ever run for re-election. His job approval numbers among Republicans are extraordinary, off the charts. And while he is starting earlier, he starts with a large amount of resources. And again, unlike the Democrats who will run a very aggressive campaign in the primary, he doesn't have a primary campaign. So all the resources he's raising will be ready to be turned and fired on the whomever the Democrats choose for their nominee.
At the same time, you're quoted in a story out this week in The Hill with the headline, GOP lobbyists worry Trump lags in K Street fundraising. It says that a number of Republican lobbyists have yet to hear from the Trump campaign asking for help with 2020. Does that represent a significant issue to you?
Not at all. I think what you see is Republicans in Washington will be racing to help President Trump get reelected, lobbyists, non-lobbyists, and those involved. As you know, we had a primary of over 18 people in 2016 when the president won, and as a result, a lot of people didn't get on board until late. That will not be the case in 2020. You probably have a couple people on Washington and K Street nervous that they haven't gotten a call from the campaign. But I can tell you, talking with Cole Blocker, Brad Parscale, and the team, they're ready, able, and willing to get going very quickly on the bundling program, which will be in addition to over $1 billion that President Trump raised during his last campaign. Resources are going to be there for this president. When you have approval numbers like he does, you may have some people on K Street that worry about whether or not they're going to get the right seat at the right party. But his support among the American people, especially among Republicans, President Trump's going to have all the resources he needs all across this country.
Well, one Democrat keeping up with President Trump's fundraising is Senator Bernie Sanders. He has nearly $14 million on hand, plus another $10 million since launching his 2020 campaign. Are you impressed by that haul from a candidate who, by the nature of his redistributive policies, isn't as attractive to wealthy donors?
Well, remember, both Bernie Sanders and President Trump have done something that hasn't been done before, which is to get people, average people all across America whose average donation is between $7 and $10 to invest in the campaign. And the best part about that is they don't only invest, they become advocates for that campaign among their friends and allies. Bernie Sanders will be able to raise a lot of money online. The good news for Republicans, his message won't sell with the American people, and he's got to get through 18 other people who are going to run for president. So I am impressed that Bernie Sanders has raised a lot of money online. He did it against Hillary Clinton. He'll do it again this cycle. His challenge is a challenge that all the Democrats have, which is their agenda really will not be popular long term among the general election, where President Trump has delivered on his results.
Well, Jack, as someone whose primary role in politics was dealing with fundraising, what's your opinion on the recent trend of candidates turning away from corporate donations?
Well, as you know, the federal election law doesn't allow you to take federal money. You do have some Democrats who said they're not going to take money from PACs. What PACs really are made up of people who voluntarily contribute to an organization so their voice is louder. I do think you will continue to have extraordinary amount of resources invested in this campaign, both on the left and on the right. You know, you have very wealthy people on the left, Tom Steyer's, George Soros, and others, who put their opinions out and use their resources for that. You'll have the same thing on the Republican side among corporations and other donors. But what you're going to see is the Democrats will try to make an issue out of people getting involved in the campaign and giving money legally under the law, while they will be raising a tremendous amount of money from their small dollar donors, just like President Trump. But what's not disclosed is the millions upon millions of dollars that labor unions spend on behalf of Democratic candidates. That money, I don't think the Democrats are going to shy away from, nor will they shy away from the super PAC that supported Hillary Clinton that will support whomever the Democratic nominee is. This campaign in 2020 is not going to be won based around money. It's going to be based around the results the president has delivered and the alternative that the Democrat puts forward on whoever her or his vision is for America. You're going to have a lot of money in this campaign, but the best news about the internet is it empowered people to be involved in the process. 20, 50, $7, they can get involved very easily, and they're a part of the process. And that's great for America, whether you're a Democrat or Republican.
These numbers are already pretty remarkable considering we're not even to March of 2019 yet. Jack Oliver, Jack, thanks very much for your time.
Lane, great to be with you. Thanks so much.